right. Okay. So in the last session when we went right, so we discussed about what do you say, ad hoc commands, right? And we saw a couple of examples with the ad hoc commands. And I'll say like we'll see more ad hoc commands. Then we will go to the main functionality called playbooks, right? Okay. So let me start this servers first. Okay. Let me get to our master. Okay. And you remember this, so in the last part, uh, we use some ad hoc commands, right? And we determined like ansible. We had a target group called web, right? And I said we can use any module you want. We saw the command module as well, right? And I said it will take arguments, and you can just check anything that you want as a part of what do you say, which is your inventory, right? So we went with creating the files, updating the content, creating the directories, right? And now what, and also we downloaded some files. Now let's try to see if we can try to install something and set up the apps if you want. You guys remember, in order to set up e-commerce site, right? You went with all the steps like what, installing HTTPD, you need to start HTTPD, you need to enable HTTPD, then you need to get the code, install Git. Now all those operations in your previous sessions, you did it manually. Now I want to do all those activities using ad hoc commands. Okay, simple. Whatever you learned earlier, that you need to keep it in the format of Ansible. That's what we are trying to basically get done at the end of the day. So now I am saying, I'll take this node 1. Currently, nothing is running here. Now my goal is I want to run my entire e-commerce site on this particular server, but I don't want to do anything by logging into the node. I want everything to be done from master. It should get affected on the node, meaning basically you use Ansible to control the things. Getting the point is okay. Now, same thing you remember in the last session, I said everything is module inside Ansible. File module, copy module, right? Then you checked out the get underscore URL module, command module, ping module. Like that, any kind of work you want to achieve, there are modules for it, right? Here also, exactly, we got the similar kind of ability. So now what you want to install some package, right? Now I'll just say install package using Ansible. Now you see guys, there are different things. So there is something called like yum module, which only works for Red Hat, CentOS, Amazon Linux, this kind of Fedora based operating systems. Then you got package module, which is a generic option. So there are multiple things based upon the type of OS you are working with. So this yum, right, it only works for CentOS. You got package, and also there is one more module also is apt module. This is for Ubuntu machines. I hope you are getting the logic. All these three, the work is same, but this is defined only for what, Red Hat based machines. This is defined for Ubuntu. This is universal. That's the reason why generic. I hope you're getting the logic. Now, I want to use yum first to install. We don't have Ubuntu machines. Ubuntu also will take one example later. Then we'll also use this package manager to go into the same book. Now this is yum module. What is this yum module taking? It has like a lot of options. You see config files, disable repository, right? And it says name. So if you have name of the package to go with, then what is a state? Do you want it to be installed or you want it to be present? So it says same thing, whether to install, you can use any of it, present, installed or latest. You can go with any of the option you want. And if you want to remove, you will say absent. Now I'll show you the same thing using ad hoc commands. What is the module name? Yum module. Now what I'll do is here, how we can verify, we are pretty sure there is no HTTPD install, right? So how you can check that? I can use the following command if I want. Now I don't want it to be there on what do you say, both the servers. Maybe I'll use only on N1 server. I hope you are getting the point. I'm just taking N1. You can see, right? It says what? Unit could not be found, meaning that is the same thing which we saw earlier when we started learning the things, right? So there is no HTTPD present on this server, right? Good. Okay, fine. Sorry? You can take this. Web means both it will take. Why I'm taking N1 is we will use yum for N1, we'll use package for N2 so that you'll get the difference, right? Yep. Now we are pretty much sure there is no HTTPD installed on this particular machine. So fine. Now I want to go ahead and install it. Instead of command module, what module I'll use? Yum. And it also has parameters, arguments I need to pass. What are all the arguments? The first thing is name is mandatory, without which how do you know which package to install? So I'm taking the name. Name is what? yum-y install HTTPD, you say, right? Name of the package. Once you specify the name of the package, then you need to specify the state. Right. Now I'll say present. All it is? Okay. Now I'll say let's see what it does. You see what it is saying? It did not pass. It get failed actually. You see what is the reason? See, earlier all the operations we did, right? Those were what do you say, within your home directory, home CentOS. So no special permissions are required. But when you do the when you perform the installations, obviously we need some special permissions, isn't it? Now we are not able to get it done. Why? Because you don't have those permissions set for you. Getting the point is? I hope you got the logic. You can also observe the same thing with your get underscore URL functionality. Meaning, if I say history here, you see, yes, this is what you downloaded, right? So this thing, it did not, what do you say, need any kind of special permissions. Reason because you're getting it in the home directory. But let's say now what I'll do is instead of home directory, I want it to be directed to OPT directory. Now OPT directory is not under your control, correct? It requires some special permissions. You see, you're getting the same thing. you can't write the data to this destination. Why? Because you don't have access. Only who has access to that slash opt directory? Root. Correct? So how you can verify that? You see, opt directory is owned by which user? Root user. Now, if I want this operation to be performed with root access, you pass -b. -b means become. So whenever you say become means you are running the command with root like access, right? Okay, I'll just keep this. Sorry, just a second. Run with sudo access. That's the thing already given, Vijay. So we are just following the documentation we are doing it. Right? If you say sudo su dash, right? So it is only from the terminal point of view, not from the Ansible point of view. Okay, that's the reason why we need to say -b. Okay, now we'll apply the same technique, guys. So earlier when I was trying to install the things with what our this command, right? Okay, just a second. Sorry. Okay, now I'll use the same thing with -b and I'll just verify. Now you see it got changed, meaning it was successfully able to download it to the /opt directory once we have given the -b option. So that's what I was just trying to say. If I want to install now anything, so I'll make sure I'll pass -b option. So this will make sure that we should be able to set up our Apache HTTP without any particular problem, right? Okay. Now we should be able to install the softwares. Now let's see if this error gets resolved. Now we can see it said all the dependencies, everything they got installed and it got completed. And we can just check the same command once again. Earlier it said it did not found, but this time it is available. But the problem is it is inactive and ditch. Now we installed it and you already know it. So once you do the installation, what? So literally guys, generally this is the commands you use, right? What commands? Sudo yum-y install httpd. Then next command what you use? After starting, enable, right? Yes. Once you enable next, you'll do one more thing. That's the same thing we want to do it with Ansible now. This part is equivalent to this. Second step, now I need to start. Now you can't use yum module for starting the services. So like I said, right, every task, a module is given for you. Now which module I'm going to use for this is service module, you see manage services. You see enabled. What is the name of the service? Do you want it to be reload, restarted, started, stopped? You got all the options that you need. Getting the point is? So just like you need to follow, what do you say, this documentation, then check out each and every particular option and go with the work. Now here I'll do the same thing. So here, what is the module name? Service module. It requires name and it requires state. So I'll do the same thing here. Ansible module name is service, and it also requires name, which is HTTPD systemctl start HTTPD state. Here it says what? Started. And yes, obviously this also requires sudo access, right? So I'm saying -b. Same way now, I also need to what? Enable it. Name is HTTPD. Now I need to check what is the option for this enable. Now if I check the documentation, what it says? Enabled, yes or no. So I'll say enabled is yes. So now first thing, we are installing it, we are starting it, we are enabling it. Then we will go ahead and try to clone the code. So first let's check whether these things work or not. Then one by one accordingly we will go and check the things. You see guys, it got changed. And how you can verify? You can check the status here. It says your HTTPD is active and running, or simply another way is yes, we can see our HTTPD is up and running. And now next we'll also make sure that service is enabled so that on reboot you should be able to run the things. Yes, it went and it enabled it. Now the next thing is we need to get the application code, right? And same thing guys, here also you'll go with the exact same approach. So now I need to clone the URL, and URL we know it. I'll take one URL from here, one of my previous sites. Right, exactly. Now I'll do the same thing. Right. So now guys, like how we were using git commands, right? So for all these particular git commands, there is one more module for you called as git module. Let me show you now. Here you're using this service module, right? Similarly, what it is saying, you can deploy your softwares or files. Where you want to get the code. Link. Address of your Git repository. So we require repo and we require destination. I'll do the same thing. -git module A. It will take two options. What are those two options? One is repository and another one is destination. Repository, you just got to know what is the URL. And destination, you got to know var www.html. And even this requires sudoers access. Isn't it simple, guys? I'm like, all you need to know is look out the appropriate module, check the parameters, and start putting them. Now I'll try the same thing. Correct. So you're getting the error saying failed to find the Git because you did not install Git. As simple as that. Right. So you remember, right? So we skipped that step. So generally what, in order to run this thing, we need to make sure then you should be able to get it done, right? Now I'll do the exact same thing. Now instead of using yum, I'll show you can also work with other module. Like I said, right, instead of yum module, there is a generic package manager available. What is it? Package module. It one also, it takes name, it takes state. Options can be present for installation, absent for removing. So I'll just go with the same thing. Now what I'll do, small changes. Instead of using yum module, I'll go with a little bit different approach this time. What is the module? Name is git, state is present. Now try this thing. Let's see. All right. Okay. Right. Now we can see git is also installed. Meaning, so either you can use that, you can use this. Right. Package when we use this for universal entities. So once we get into what is this Ubuntu machines, we'll see how it can be used actually. Okay. Right. Okay. Now git is installed. Now you should be able to clone the software, right? Now let's try it once again. Now it was able to fetch the code. Now we should be able to see our site up and running. Hope you got the logic is. Now you see everything that we did using commands, for every particular option, there are modules available. You'll start using these modules and you'll start working. That's what Ansible is all about. Now what you used completely ad hoc commands, but like I said, ad hoc commands, they do have some kind of disadvantages. One is you can only run one task at a time and you don't have reusability, meaning you can't reuse these things later in the future if you want to do the similar kind of work. Again, I need to keep on going and running these commands every time. Now what I can do is, we no longer want to do the work in this approach. Now you see, instead of running 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different commands there, I just want to keep everything in the playbook and run the playbook. So single playbook can help you run multiple tasks. And also you got reusability. Why? Because these playbooks, right, these are pieces of code. If you have code, you already learned the tool called Git. Can't you do the version controlling? You add the piece of code, commit, your functionalities, meaning like your operations are also getting tracked. Okay, when you installed something, when you started something, which particular code is responsible for starting. Now all that is also available in the GitHub, meaning auditing and tracking is also possible now. So all these things make what do you say, give us that playbooks are much more efficient way than working with the ad hoc commands, right? And I think I wrote it here also somewhere. I said single task, no reusability. If you use Ansible playbooks, yes, you got multitask and basically you can go ahead and reuse the things, right? Yes. Can't reuse in the sense, simply you need to again run the things, right? So if I want to go and run the things in N2, again I need to run all these commands. That's what I'm saying, you can't reuse, right? So later you'll see, like once you get to the ad hoc commands, I don't need to write 100 commands like this. We'll just make CP command, everything is ready there, right? Okay. Now my goal is this: instead of running the things from ad hoc, I want to shift them into what do you say, playbooks. Now for this, there are few things that you need to understand. How to represent the playbooks, or basically how you give the inputs in the playbook format. For that, let's discuss. Now let's see the concept of what playbooks are. So Ansible playbooks offer repeatable, reusable, and simple configuration management, multi-machine deployments, will be involved. Getting the point is? So it's almost like whatever we trying to do with ad hoc commands, you'll do the same thing, but you'll get more advantages once you start using the concept called playbooks. So we'll see repeatable, reusable, and simple way to go ahead and manage the things. And like I said, multiple machines can also be deployed at the same time, which is nothing but, you already know it, inventory. So multi-machine deployment is nothing but what? Group in your inventory. Right? That's it. So don't imagine that it's a separate concept. It's the same thing that you already learned. Right. Now, fine, we got to know what playbooks basically offer. Now, you see, this is the main thing that you need to remember, guys. So if you want to execute a task with Ansible more than once, then you start writing a playbook and you put it on your GitHub. Because git clone and just run the Ansible playbook command, everything is ready for you. That's it, right? So every time I don't need to go ahead and download each and every individual file there. I'll say clone, I'll get my entire infra, and I'll just run one particular command. I'll have everything that is required for me running from the Ansible part itself in one single patch. All right, okay. Right, so that's a very important point. So write your playbooks and then put them under your GitHub. You're good to go with. Then you see it says, then you can use the playbook to push out the configurations to your remote systems, right? Fine, good, okay, looks good. Now the important aspect, syntax. Ad hoc commands, you saw the syntax, right? I did not write here syntax, okay, I'll write somewhere here. We had ad hoc syntax, right? Yes, that was the syntax used for your Ansible ad hoc commands. Let's say same way for your Ansible playbooks also you got some syntax. YAML format with minimum of a syntax, right? So basically just remember, so playbooks are represented or basically they are expressed in a language called as YAML, right? YAML, yet another markup language. So it's almost like English, very easy to understand. We'll take a couple of examples. You'll get to know whatever the YAML which is required for writing the playbooks. You see, and it says also guys, if you never worked with YAML, you can look at the YAML overview, the syntax basically here. Let me explain. Simple guys, in YAML, right? You see, it says, so this this particular page gives you basic overview of correct YAML syntax, which is how our Ansible playbooks are going to be expressed. And it says, we use YAML because it is very easy for humans to understand this format, unlike JSON and XML. It's very English-like kind of thing. Once you see it, you'll easily able to grab it. You see, for Ansible, nearly every YAML file starts with a list. Each list basically might contain some key value pairs, which call them as hashes, dictionary, or maps. So you got three things, guys. Either you can say hash, dictionary, or map, or simply we'll use lists or key value pairs. Now, how they are represented? There is a small point that you need to know about YAML, regardless you use it with Ansible or not. So YAML is a language, YAML is a language which is used by Ansible. But this YAML is also used by Docker. It is also used by Kubernetes. It is also used by some other technologies. Regardless it is associated with Ansible or not, an Ansible playbook will start with 3 dashes. It will end with 3 dots. It started with 3 dashes. It ends with 3 dots, right? So regardless of their association or not, all YAML files begin with 3 dashes, end with 3 dots. Like basically, yes. So whatever the playbook that you are writing, it should be an YAML file. All right. Okay. Next thing, I said, right, most of the things are list here. So how do you identify a list is all the lists, right? They begin with same indentation, meaning they always follow same order, and they always have a start with dash and a space, right? Okay. All the members of list, they begin at same indentation level. Starting with a dash and a space. Right? Okay. And a space. You see, simply here you can identify it. Dash and a space. Dash and space. Now these are what? Nothing but some list of fruits. So hash generally indicates comment. It's a comment for you. And you see, these are list of fruits. Already, yes? Now, then you got something called like dictionary. Dictionaries are represented in key value formats. These are also followed by a space. Imagine right now, I want to have some characteristics. Employee has some characteristics, has a name, has some job, and has some skill set. Now these define what? Multiple characteristics of Martin. Now Why am I talking about list and dictionaries is whatever we did earlier in our task, they also had similar thing. Now let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. List of 5 tasks. Are you getting the point? List of 5 fruits, list of 5 tasks. Each of them has attributes. Yum, name, this is HTTPD. State is present. Key, value. Key, value. Module, yum, name, HTTPD. State, present. Module, service. Name, HTTPD. State, started. Module, git. Module, file. Module, command. You can go ahead and keep everything there. Getting the point is? Now, as you got to understand this list and dictionaries, now I'll take some sample playbook. We will configure it according to this particular standards. Are you getting the point is? Let me go ahead now. Right, so you have list and you have basically dictionaries. I'll get back to the same page. You see guys, they have given some sample thing here. For timing, I'll just copy it and I'll make some small tweaks here. Then accordingly, we'll go with the patch. What I'll do is I'll get back to this editor. Okay, don't worry about all these things right now. I'll just explain you. You see here, guys. Okay, as of now, you don't worry about this thing. Okay. Even you forget about this. They all begin with the same indentation, spaces, and a dash. Does it indicate a list? Are you getting the point, guys? Now, let's do our tasks also here. What are our tasks? These are your tasks. Ansible, you want to install HTTPD, right? Ensure HTTPD is, that is the first task. You wanted to make sure it started. Getting the point is, now you'll take all of this, then you'll represent them in the order, like how you are going with the same ad hoc commands. Or let's say install git also there, right? This one. Now this is what task. Now in order to perform this, we need different set of things, right? Right. Those are modules. I hope now you're getting the point. This time, now what I'll say, this name already we wrote. In order to perform this HTTPD, what is the module we need? Name, state. You can write like this, ansible built-in .yum, or it's optional. You can directly write yum also, no problem. Yum is the module. Doesn't it have multiple features? Name, state, versions, like that. You can mention the same thing. Name is HTTPD. State is Are you getting the point, miss? Second task, what you wanted to do? You want to start it. You see, I just took some sample. I'm rewriting it according to my criteria. Which module do you need here? Service takes what parameters? How do I know it? You already wrote it in your command. Name is HTTPD, state is started. That's how you write your playbooks, guys. Now, did you get the point why we are talking about lists and dictionaries? Why? Because all your Ansible playbooks, they will be represented in this structure. Clear, everyone? Hope you got the point, right? So it's very easy, guys. If you understand ad hoc commands thoroughly, converting them into playbooks is not a huge deal. You just take your things, compare, start putting it up. All right? Okay. Now, one more thing I want you to remember for this part. So we got to know the syntax. Now you got to know what is the meaning of list and what is the meaning of dictionary, right? Okay, perfect. Later you can just check it, yes, in for your reference, right? Just go with this particular page. Now there is one more thing I just did not discuss here. This is syntax part. This is important. So a playbook is composed of one or more plays in an ordered list. I'll explain, just take them now. So why? Because your playbook, they always follow these three steps. Playbooks, plays, then you got tasks, and then you got modules. Right? Okay, simple. Here, for shortcut purpose, I'll just write it so that it is easy for you to remember. Playbook is made of plays. Play is made of tasks. Task has module. Right? Yes. So this is the structure you need to remember. Okay. Now let me put it in this way. Right. Now I'll go with the original one which I do. This is the original one. Now just let's take our first things that we did in a simple and straight manner approach. You see, update web servers, hosts. This is nothing but inventory. So whatever the groups you mentioned in the inventory, right, they come under hosts. As of now, I'll say web, or I can say N1, or I can say N2, N3, or I can say all. So where you want to target, that is inventory. That's playbook, right? Okay. A playbook is made up of one or more plays. If I am targeting everything on one single host, I mean like one single part of the inventory, that is one play. No, you are trying to do multiple activities. Imagine that hypothetically you had two set of groups. So this playbook targets two different categories. One category, it will target web. Another category will target the app servers. So this playbook is made up of two plays. Yes. This is one single play, one playbook, one single play. One playbook, two plays. Getting the point? So here I'll write one play. And also I'll show you now, this is one play with multiple tasks. Single task. A playbook can have only one single play and one single task. No. One play. Here what I can do. One play, multitask. No, you want multiple plays. Each play has two tasks. This play called web targets two tasks. This one also targets two tasks. Each task has a module. One task cannot have multiple modules, only one at a time. I hope you got the point. So for one specific task, right now this one you can't have multiple, only one module at a time. Getting the point is everyone? Now I hope you got the point. So your playbooks can be represented in any of it. One play, one task, one play, multiple tasks, multiple plays, multiple tasks. So you can represent it based upon your criteria. Clear? I hope everyone got the point. So this is how you need to represent your playbooks. Now you just take this particular scenario and then you start creating your playbook. Now I'll take one simple playbook. You remember the first thing that we did was we created some specific directory. Now I want to do the same thing using our Ansible playbook. Now I'll say update web servers, inventory, I'm calling it as web, ensure some directory is created. What module did we use at that point of time in order to create a directory? File module. File module takes some parameters. What are those parameters? One is state, the other thing is it takes path, where the location should be. So if you remember, this is it, right? So this particular command right now, I'm trying to represent this using our Ansible playbook. Name is, sorry, some directory. So this one will target on both the things, right? No, I only want to target it on N1. Getting the point is, now I'll copy this entire thing. I'll come back to this place. Now I'm going to create one, or if not, I'll say git initialize, meaning a repository I'm creating. I hope you got the logic. Now you got a new directory called playbooks. There is nothing to track. Now you might create your playbooks. I'll create the first playbook. Let me see if VM is there. Vim 01. I'll say single playbook or single play, or simply I'll say one play. One play, one task.yml. So YAML files should be represented as YML or YAML. Anything is fine. It's up to you. We wrote already. I'm just going to copy that. Sorry, we use the hashes, right? So that will fully cover the part. Is okay, fine. I'll just copy this part. I'll get rid of the remaining things from here. It says update web server, that too only the N1 server. This is the target that we are trying to say. Ensure that directory is created with N1 underscore dir. And we are pretty sure the directory does not exist on our node 1 now. You can even verify the thing with Ansible N1 -m command module -a list. There is no N1 underscore directory. Right? Yes. Now we have this playbook. We want to execute this playbook. Ansible -playbook. That's the command that you are going to use. And then specify the playbook name. That's the playbook that we have written, which we want to call. Now you see the play called update web servers is called. There is one implicit task which always runs. This is a default task called as gathering facts. I'll explain later why this task is used. It will collect the system information. That will always happen. Then this is the actual task that you went with. What? Ensure the directory is created, and it says it got changed, meaning it should be updated. How you can verify? Next time onwards, when you run the playbook once again, everything is up to date. So if you are going with some deployment, imagine you already wrote a playbook which makes sure that HTTPD should be installed, it should be started, Git should be installed. Now in Jenkins, can't I run this playbook? Of course. Why? Because it's a CLI command. You go back to your Jenkins box there. In the command box, you run this particular thing. Why? Because this is already available in your GitHub. I did not push it, but I can say add, commit, push to GitHub. When you clone, even this playbook is part of your, what you say, repository. And then Ansible can, like Jenkins can run now your Ansible playbook commands there. Why? Because it's simply a command line interface tool there once again. I hope you got the point, guys. Right? Now, like this, you can just go ahead and start creating multiple playbooks. Now, what next goal is, whatever we did, everything we'll keep it in the playbooks format and we'll start doing the work. And then what? Same thing. Now it's worked, right? Now perfectly, I know this configuration works. What I'll do? Now we got to know. Okay, so whenever you want to go ahead and check the things in the future, right? So this piece of code is responsible for creating a directory. Like that, creating config files, installing, starting, enabling, going with what you say, port number modifications, right? Passing some environment variables, everything you can do it with the playbooks. That's what next we are going to see. Meaning simply, I'll show you various playbooks so that you'll get an idea how you can start writing your own playbooks in the future as well. Clear is? So that's the thing that basically Ansible helps you do right now in the market. So just go ahead, take your activities and keep them in the playbook format, keep them in your version control. In the future, you don't need to repeat the steps once again. We'll see, like slowly one by one, like we did in the last part, right? Like all ad hoc commands. Now we'll convert them into the playbook part. You'll be good to get, what you say, writing your own playbooks in the future. All right, okay. Any questions, guys? I hope now it's pretty clear. It's not very complicated. Like I said, if you go in a correct order, right? So first learn the manual commands. If you don't know manual commands, we can't do anything with Ansible. That's pretty straightforward. So first you know manual things, then you get to know like ad hoc commands to get the flow of that. Then you convert that ad hoc commands into playbooks. There is one more thing called roles we'll see in the future. Then these playbooks will be used inside roles to make them like functions. Like how you use functions, right? You create functions, you call functions from other functions. That's the same thing called roles. Reusability will be more. Then we will also see that roles, then you'll get the entire flow of Ansible. All right, okay. Fine, okay, this is what I wanted to go. So we'll stop the session. Tomorrow we'll start more playbooks. We'll just keep on writing playbooks. Then slowly we'll add the concept called variables, conditions, then what you say, loops, then followed by what you say, functions. Like that, you'll get to know a typical programming aspect from Ansible itself, right? Yes, almost close to scripting, but you don't need to do a lot of hard work. Everything is already kept and ready. You reuse those blocks. That's what Ansible is meant to do. All right, okay. Chalo, see you guys then. In the next session, we'll start writing more playbooks with respect to our apps, right? Okay.
Hello? Hello? Ravi?
Sorry, can you be a little bit louder?
హలో రవి, నా పేరు చైతన్య. కొంచెం స్లోగా చెప్పండి రవి. అంటే ఏం లేదు, స్క్రీన్స్ మీరు మార్చడం కొద్దీ మాకు డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వస్తుంది అంతే, ఇంకేం లేదు. చూసే కొద్దీ మీరు అట్టు వెళ్ళిపోతుంది, ఈ పేజ్కి వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. కొంచెం స్లోగా చెప్తారా?
సారీ అండి, అయితే ఒకసారి వాళ్ళకి కంప్లైంట్ చేయండి. ఇక్కడైతే బాగానే కనిపిస్తుంది, ఇక్కడైతే డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఏం లేదు.
డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఏం లేదు. మీరు అంటే వేరే స్క్రీన్కి వెళ్తుంటే మల్టీ టాస్క్ చూసేసరికి మళ్ళీ 1-to-1 ప్లే టాస్క్ వచ్చేస్తుంది. అందువల్ల కొంచెం స్లోగా చెప్పండి, ఇంకేం లేదు.
ఓకే ఓకే, షూర్.
ఎక్స్ప్లెయినింగ్ అంతే, ఇంకేం లేదు.
రైట్ రైట్, ఓకే
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
ఓకే, చలో, ఓకే, సీ యూ గైస్.